Callum.
Yeah.
There you are.
We should have Mr. Ali Express on for a podcast.
Oh my god.
No, this is the best kind of cold open where you let everyone just sit around waiting for about 5 minutes before we actually start talking.
I mean, technically we started talking, we were talking for like 5 minutes till Callum's mic fucked up, so. Callum, you owe some apology.
That was weird. Don't know why. I was even hearing myself like talking twice.
I mean, I heard you just fine. It was Dennis.
I heard you fine. It was audio quality and all that. I just felt that I would be kind of stupid if we went an entire hour-long podcast and Callum's audio file just never loaded. So, like, it's just you, Garrison, and me talking, and then all of a sudden, there's like a 2-minute blank space.
Yeah, that's like when we had those problems with Craig.
Oh, God.
Fuck Craig.
Yeah, that was like, it's like, oh, he stopped recording. When did he stop recording? An hour ago.
And it doesn't send you a notification either.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't until the end and you just look into the chat and just go, oh, shit.
It's like, god damn it, the best episode you recorded just doesn't exist.
No, remember we had to do the double episode?
I do.
God.
It was it was the APS episode that it did that, and I think it did it on the Nabel Falsig one as well. It stopped recording partway through.
Yeah, I remember that. Those were the days, eh?
Those were the days my ass, thankfully for Zencastr.
We totally don't have those issues anymore, do we?
Hopefully not.
We're going to be done recording this and then look back and be like, motherfucker, Craig's back. Somehow.
Craig took over the Zencastr.
I fucking swear. I got a hell let loose date after this, so.
A date? Really?
Yes, sir. Hell let
guy.
loose. Name's Alan. We're going to go kill Germans for the father. We're going to go kill Germans for America.
Callum, do you know the part where he just said he's going to see Alan? Can you just make sure that that's like really loud and crisp when you hear that?
Yep, will do.
You guys, I swear. And
is Alan in the room with us right now?
Well, if you count Discord, yes.
You know, what was it? Last night, I was just hanging out with the girlfriend and suddenly got a notification. I wish. Got a notification on my phone that just went, your bid on Trade Me is won. My son went, wait, what's this one? And I put a bet on some. I put a $5 bid on 2 Tamiya accessory kits. There's like 2 types of US infantry weapon accessory kits.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, there were 2 of them, and they're selling them both at the same time. So I put a $5 bid on, and no one else bid on it. But it was like there for about a week and a half, and I just totally forgot about it. And then just like, ding, you won the bid. I'm going, wait, what? I don't remember this one.
Bloody hell!
like you open your door and like there's a post guy just throwing Tamiya weapons at you.
If only. Yeah, I really need to as heretic as this sounds, I need to stop buying kits because I need to actually stock up on everything else for making. I have no primer at the moment, a lot of things.
I feel you, Callum.
What do you use for primer, Callum? Don't you use like that really weird household stuff?
Nah, the stuff my dad gave me, it goes weird on me. Like I try and thin it out, and it just ends up beating up, and I can't get I can't get it right for the airbrush versus what I want to prime. It's not working for some reason. I don't know why. So
what do you think you will get when you restock? Because you will, right?
Yeah. Right. Once payday comes around, eventually.
Nope, Callum's quitting the hobby.
Yep, he's quitting the hobby. Nope, he's going to quit the hobby because he doesn't have primer.
Yeah, no.
Subscribe to our Patreon so Callum can get primer.
Callum's primer font.
Yes, one of the 15 hobby stores in my city.
Fuck you.
Sells a lot of AK stuff. So yeah, they got primer for like $15.
First of all, fuck you for having 15 hobby stores in your city, and second of all, fuck you for using AK primer. That's an insult.
Hey, just FYI, how's this for more insulting? 13 or so hobby stores. Guess how many people are in my city? Slightly under 2 million. So for 2 million people have 13 hobby stores, and they're all within a 15 to 20 minute drive from me.
I hate you. I hate you.
Hey, Callum, have you ever started a shotgun?
Why
I'm
go
gonna
out
walk
of
you to
New
the
Zealand?
steps.
I just love digging that knife in. You know, it's the one thing I've got.
Come
Here
to
I
Toronto.
was in California with like 0 hobby stores within a fucking hour's drive of me between San Diego and Los Angeles.
Well, yeah,
And
because
then,
like an hour's drive from you is one city block.
well, no, there's this thing called the I-5, Dennis.
I've been on American highways. I know for a fact that they're just surface streets.
You are a surface street.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, you get run through a lot.
I knew that was coming. Oh, on that note, gentlemen, this is just the three of us today. Shall we start this thing?
Thanks, Ezra, you fucking dancer.
Yeah. Well,
And
you were
Jack
listening
for
to,
something.
Oh, God. You were
Yep.
listening to the Micro Machines podcast. We are currently running on a skeleton crew because Ezra decided that dancing is more important than us.
After he was the reason we moved tonight's episode to tonight, not last night.
Yeah, that as well.
Dancing.
So subscribe to our Patreon, and you'll hear us bitching out Ezra.
Honestly, subscribe to our Patreon so we can just hire an intern to be like an on-call podcast member. So whenever Ezra inevitably decides to drop out of an episode, we can just call up our intern and say, "Hey,
Hire an
come on."
intern. What? I mean, why don't we just have an unpaid intern?
Yeah, we could just. All right, if you want to be an intern for us, send us an application over our Discord.
We can definitely, totally give you legitimate, like, college credits. Totally.
We'll give you exposure, but you need at least 5 years of industry experience and a master's of the art. And a gas license. And a gas license.
That was like 90% of the jobs on Indeed when I was looking for jobs for, entrance jobs. I was like, holy fuck.
My favorite thing being in computer science is that all the jobs literally say, hey, this is an entry-level developer position. Yeah, you need at least a master's in this and 5 years experience, and your GitHub page has to look like the flipping color green. Yeah, I hate it.
I need your all your W-2s. I need your social security number. I need your dick size. I need your IP address. I need your firstborn, and then rights to your lastborn. And then maybe we'll talk about an interview.
I'm just imagining Garrison like holding up Will towards the city of Wichita building like the Lion King.
Fuck no. I love my job, but no. All right, introductions. Let's go.
Yes, introductions.
Okay.
Let's go.
Callum, send it.
Come on, Cal.
All right, so you got me, Callum, from New Zealand, and I am on the soft drinks at the moment. I've got a Coke because I'm heading out later with the missus, so I'm not starting early.
Fair enough. Well, got me, Garrison, in good old Kansas. Let's go Midwest. Drinking a water tonight, no coffee, and working on a AliExpress Italian anti-tank gun and crew vignette.
And you got me, Dennis, in Ontario, and I'm currently working on a day-old stale coffee.
You, Ezra, have an ass. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Hey, it's not. At least I'm not drinking paint thinner on the podcast.
Day-old coffee, Dennis.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. No, Dennis, no. Bad Dennis.
It's called the struggle, man. It's called the podcast grind.
Oh, God.
All right.
I mean, come on.
What are we talking about today?
We've got one Patreon, and it's only for $3. He can't quite afford a fresh coffee yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on.
right. You're right.
We got the Callum Primer Fund and the Dennis Coffee Fund. Anyways, this week we are discussing the Seawolf-class nuclear attack submarine.
Send it.
Alrighty. So, given the fact that this is primarily an armor-focused podcast, and because we're all armor guys, I figured we might want to have some historical context before I start ranting and raving about why I love the submarine. So, what is an SSN, or nuclear attack submarine? So basically, what SSN
It's a round
means
tube
is,
full of semen.
yeah, exactly. It's long, it's hard, it's round, it's full of semen. Penetrates a lot of things. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's all the context you need.
Hey, good episode, guys.
Good episode, guys. Let's wrap it up.
Hey, it's a short episode, just like a lot of other things with tubes that are full of semen.
We're filthy.
Yeah, we're awful.
Anyway, Dennis, what were you saying?
So, anyways, yes, wrong, whatever. So, in the Second World War, we have this thing that comes out called the attack submarine, and basically the idea here is that to counter warships, convoy merchantmen, and even other submarines, countries like Germany, with their Kriegsmarines, start developing these submarines. At the time, they were diesel-electric, so they would have these diesel engines that would basically, while they were on the surface, charge these electric batteries so they could run relatively quietly under the surface of the ocean. And the idea here with these attack submarines is that they use usually torpedoes basically to hunt other vessels, right? This is a bit of a departure because prior to the Second World War, submarines were basically just treated as surface combatant vessels with their deck guns that could go slightly below the surface of the ocean for short periods of time. Attack submarines, on the other hand, are designed to spend most of their time underwater and to attack from underwater as well.
So this would be kind of what we think of submarines today.
Exactly. When you think of like, I'm trying to think. You guys, have you watched The Hunt for Red October?
Yes.
So you know what the USS Dallas was?
Yes.
So let me fire up the laser pointer here. So the USS Dallas is this one right here in the middle. I'm skipping ahead a bit, but that was a Los Angeles class fast attack submarine.
Okay.
So I'm going to fast forward a bit, but basically here's one thing you guys need to know. So nuclear reactors were really important for submarines, more than basically for any other kind of ship in the Navy, because nuclear reactors, when you put them in a submarine like this Sturgeon class here, which I think this flow's from 1967, I want to say. Nuclear reactors, when you put them in a submarine, allow them to run underwater basically indefinitely, because nuclear reactors, if you give them enough enriched uranium, you don't really ever have to refuel them over the course of about 25, 30 years, right? So their endurance is limited only by the amount of food they can carry on board for their crews. So this is incredibly important. It means that submarines can now just kind of operate indefinitely. They can go as fast as you can possibly make them in terms of hydrodynamics. They level up. Let's put it that way. So it starts in the 1950s with the USS Nautilus, and then basically in the Cold War, we have this arms race between the Soviet Union and the NATO allies. Basically, see who can make the fastest submarines with nuclear reactors in them. They basically be as fast as possible, as quiet as possible, so that other submarines don't detect them, and able to carry the biggest armament, as it were. So, to give some context for the Seawolf, the first major nuclear submarine class we have to talk about is the Sturgeon class submarine. So these were the 637 class from the United States Navy. They entered service in 1967, and they were basically kind of like the main or the auxiliary submarines all the way up until the 1980s. I think the last one was retired in 2004. They weighed 4,700 tons submerged. They were powered by an S5W reactor, so a bit of a note on like the nomenclature here. So the U.S. Navy uses this like 3-character naming system for their nuclear reactors to tell you basically what they are. So the S here basically just stands for it's a submarine reactor. It's a pressurized water reactor. Callum, I thought for the sake of time I would leave out the description of what a PWR is.
Give me a hip pocket class real quick, like basic
Yeah.
summary.
Do
Okay.
a real summary.
Oh, okay. So, a pressurized water reactor basically works like this: you have not control rods, fuel tubes full of enriched uranium, and enriched uranium is highly radioactive, right? When you put water near these fuel tubes, basically the water heats up because of the radiation coming off the enriched uranium. The water basically goes through a steam pipe. It spins a turbine, which generates electric power, and then it condenses, and basically it's just like this closed loop. The water heats up, drives the turbine, cools down, and then gets heated up again. So the advantage with the PWR design is that you can make them fairly small. Even back in the 1960s, like they were pretty advanced for what they were. So you can make them small enough to fit inside a submarine, which again provides it with basically unlimited power. I think just to kind of give you guys an idea of how much power we're talking about here. So this one, the Sturgeon had 15,000 shaft horsepower.
Shaft.
The shaft in the long tube.
Oh God.
Yeah, but like we're talking about a huge amount of power here, and that's back in the 1960s. So these are basically like they are pretty decent submarines for what they are. They are relatively loud, and one of the things we're going to keep talking about in this episode is the acoustic signature of a submarine. So basically, because of the way that sound travels in water, how loud these things are is incredibly important because they want to avoid being detected, obviously. So one of the issues here is basically there's a certain amount of noise that the submarine cannot avoid making because it has to run the pumps in its nuclear reactors, right, to circulate the water. But beyond that, there's a lot of ways that they can try and reduce the amount of sound that they make. And that's going to be a very important part of their design to try and be stealthier so that, it's harder for them to be detected. But this one, the Sturgeon, it's okay with the S5W reactor, which is the 5th generation Westinghouse PWR reactor. It can make 26 knots submerged. Again, these are all faster underwater than they are on the surface because of the design of their hull. They're very hydrodynamic. And it had a complement of 107 people with 4 torpedo tubes.
And how long, for 127 people, how long could they stay submerged for, like out in the ocean for refueling and
That's pretty subjective. No one really gives a solid figure, primarily because, like, normally it's about 120 days. Like, they say we're going to keep putting enough food in here for 120 days, but it could go a lot longer than that, depending on how heavily they loaded it. Again, it's only limited by basically it's got 30 years of endurance and how much food you can carry.
Damn.
Yeah. So this was basically the main hunter-killer submarine the U.S. Navy used in the late 1960s and 1970s. But there was an issue. So, as I was talking about, the S5W reactor, it's 5th generation. It's a pretty good design. Sturgeon is a pretty good design, but it's relatively loud. It can only make 26 knots, which is not fast enough to keep up with some of the Soviet fast attack submarines. And I'll speak more on them later. So in 1976, we get the USS Los Angeles, or I should say the Los Angeles class, the 688 class fast attack submarine. These are huge compared to the Sturgeon. The long metal tube is massive. It's 7,000 tons submerged. It has a complement of 129 people, and it's equipped with the S6G reactor. Now, the important thing to understand here is that this is a full generation ahead of what Sturgeon was using. So despite this being way larger, way heavier, it can go 33 knots. For submarines at this time, 1976, that's fast. Like that is, I'm trying to think, 33 knots. Oh man.
Well, put it this way: my dad's
about 40
yacht.
kilometers an hour.
Yeah, put it this way: my dad's yacht. When we have full sail, we can get about 11 to 12 knots on the water, so they can literally go about 3 times faster than us.
Yeah, and this is
underwater. Homeboy's cooking it.
Yeah, really cooking. Yeah. And one of the other things that's important with the 688 class is that it is a lot quieter. And it basically, the redesign of the reactor for the 6th generation makes it a lot quieter. The pumping noises are not as loud. The sonar arrays on board the 688, they're a lot more powerful. So it can also hear Soviet subs a lot further away than they can hear it, which makes this basically the this is the mainstay of the United States Navy's fast attack submarine fleet, even to this day. There's, I think, 26 of them still in service, more than any other in the world.
Wow.
Like, they really crank these out. And basically,
and where do you know where they're stationed at? Are they out in San
all
Diego?
over the place, both in the Pacific and the Atlantic coasts of America.
I've got a picture on my Facebook I took while on ship, and we did a show of force in the Taiwanese Strait, and there was a submarine. I got a picture of it. I'm going to send it to you real quick, but keep going.
Let me see if I can identify it.
It's going to take me a moment to find it, but go ahead.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm basically just breezing through this to tell you guys, like, the United States Navy is in this arms race with the Soviet Union to try and build submarines that are fast, quiet, and are able to dive deep. And over here on the side, we just see basically, between 1976 and the present day, they've done basically 3 main modifications to the 688. The first one just got your bone stock 688 that came out in 76. Then around the 80s, we come out with the 688 VLS, and this one basically extends the hull a little bit. And the idea here is basically now it's got a vertical launching system for the Tomahawk cruise missile in place of a few torpedoes. And then there's the 688I, which is the one that we see in service today. In addition to the VLS, it also replaced the dive planes down here. And it's a little bit faster, not by much, but it's also able to be a lot more maneuverable as well. And this is basically the backbone of the hunter-killer submarine fleet of the U.S. Navy.
Okay.
I say all this. So, and this is coming into kind of play in the 1980s, right? So, in the 1980s, put yourself in the place of the U.S. Navy. You've got the LA-class boats, and those are pretty good. 33 knots is pretty fast. They're quite quiet. NATO and the U.S. in particular think that's about as good as they need to get, at least for the time being. They don't think that the Soviet Navy is able to put out any submarines that can really counter them, right? So, in 1986, I'll kind of go to this one first. So we see the Project 971 Akula-class fast attack submarine coming out of the Soviet Navy. And this one, in 85, 86, basically the main thing here is that this took Western intelligence by surprise. The U.S. Navy in particular did not think the Soviets had the ability to build a submarine like this, at least for another 10 years. So basically, what came out in 85, they were anticipating to come out in 95. Important parts, things with the Akula class. This is a very good hunter-killer submarine in terms of what the Soviets were able to make. It features 2 important detection systems. So the first thing is a wake detection system, which basically can tell it, like, based on water currents, are there vessels nearby? And also, it has a towed array, which is this little egg-shaped container on the back. And American subs feature this as well, but the Soviets at the time were just starting to put them into production. And basically, the issue with the submarine, right, is that the sonar is in the bow and it's pointing forward, right? So it can't really see anything that's behind it, which means that you can easily, if you're in one submarine, get behind another and trail it, and no one would even know that you're there, which obviously is a huge issue. The idea with a towed array is that it's a big line, just a big rope more or less, with a bunch of hydrophones attached to it, and the submarine can literally tow this line behind it and listen to whatever was in its baffles. That's what it's called. It's listening to its baffles. So that was really bad because, I mean, with the Los Angeles class subs, when they were getting behind Soviet submarines, they would always just stay in their baffles so they couldn't be heard. Well, now the Soviets know that they're there. That's a big issue. Another issue, it can make 35 knots submerged, which is really fast. It's faster than the Los Angeles class subs. It can't outrun the torpedoes, but it could definitely outrun the submarines themselves. And it's just in general a really good design. It's made out of titanium, and it's relatively lightweight, it's fast, it can dive very deep. That's not a good thing. So that catches NATO by surprise, and that gets people awake at night. The other one is the Project 941 Typhoon. So this one was built in, I'm trying to think, when did they release this? 81. The first one came into service in 81. So this one here is the largest submarine ever built. it is huge. It's absolutely massive, and this is what's called an SSBN. The SSBN nomenclature basically says it's a ballistic missile submarine, so they are bigger and slower than normal attack submarines like the Akula. However, they're designed to carry ballistic missiles, SLBMs. This one could carry 20 such SLBMs, which made it, it's a pretty big deal for the U.S. Navy. That's something they want to counter immediately. It can make 28 knots submerged. So for an SSBN, that's fast. And again, the idea with these is that they're basically designed to just sit, move silently, move quietly, be stealthy, and move around the coastlines of the other nations, right? So for it to make 28 knots is a big deal because it can get to different parts of the world a lot faster. It can't outrun hunter killers, but it can definitely get away from them if they don't have a good lock on it. And just a bit of trivia here. So the submarine in the Hunt for Red October is actually a Typhoon.
So do you know, have you heard about that Russian sub that's going around the States right now?
The Seawolf-class?
Yeah. What is that?
That
exactly
is an SSBN. So that is basically the replacement for the Typhoon. It's not as big. It's not as fast either, as I understand it. It's basically, it's a completely different design. As far as I understand it, it is an upgrade of the Delta 4 SSBN design. Boreas are weird, and you can look them up on Wikipedia. They are kind of vaporware because, as I understand it, there's like 2 of them that are functional right now. And with the state of the Russian Navy, I'm not even sure to what extent, but they phase the Typhoon out in favor of those Boreas. So yeah, it's a different design entirely. Not as big, a little bit faster. I think. I'm not sure about the speed actually. I'm gonna have to check that. But yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but those basically emphasize stealth more so with an older design than the Typhoon. But similar in role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So these coming out in the 80s, right? These are a big headache for NATO. The Americans don't really, especially when it comes to Akula, they are not really expecting this. They don't think that the Soviets have the ability to make submarines that are this advanced. So they've kind of hedged their bets with the Los Angeles class. And now all of a sudden there are these submarines that are coming out that are able to counter the 688s more effectively. And the Americans start to lose their advantage in terms of this naval arms race. So that means that they have to come up with a new hunter-killer sub. And that is the USS Seawolf, or the Seawolf-class. So basically, to sum it up, the Seawolf-class is like the Los Angeles class, but it is faster, it can dive deeper, it is stronger, and it is a lot quieter. So I'll just kind of start going through some basic facts about it here, and this is a photo of it while it was being constructed. And this is an artist's rendition from the 80s.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah. So basically, yeah, this is designed to wrest control of the arms race from the Soviets and once again make the Americans the leaders in it. The main thing with the Seawolf is it's made out of this thing called HY100 steel. So basically, when we're talking about the steel that is used to make submarines, there's this classification system called the HY system. And the HY system basically, to sum it up, the number that is beside the HY corresponds to, I believe, the yield strength of it. So I think it's, if you've got, say, HY80 steel, which is what the Los Angeles class is made out of, it will yield at 80,000 psi. So basically, if you apply 80,000 pounds of pressure per square inch of that steel, it will yield. Essentially, it'll be crushed, right? So HY80 was pretty good, and that was the standard all the way up until the 1980s. And then HY100 comes out. Now, why is that important? That means that the submarine can go a lot deeper in the ocean, and it can survive a lot greater pressures before it gets to its crush depth. So it can go deeper, which means that it is harder to detect. It can go a bit faster. It's stealthier, right? And also diving is a tactical advantage as well if it needs to evade torpedoes. It uses the S6W reactor like the Los Angeles class, but there are some improvements made to squeeze all the power they can get out of it. This allows it to make 35 knots. Now, importantly, the Seawolf has this thing called a pump jet. So I'll go back a couple of slides here. You see how the Los Angeles class has just a single propeller screw at the back?
Yes.
So that's not. I mean, that's how most submarines are built, including these two. But the disadvantage with that is that they tend to cavitate in higher depths, which is basically where it produces a lot more noise and bubbles than it might, just because of the the hydrodynamic qualities of the depth it's at. That's not good because it means that the submarine can be heard more easily. Now, what a pump jet is, it's basically a propeller that's in a duct. So, like, duct fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine something like that on the back of this, and that basically reduces the risk of cavitation, and it means that this submarine can go up to 20 knots silently, which is stupid fast. Like, so moving around stealthily where it's very difficult to detect, 20 knots is definitely, that's a leg up on anything the Soviets have, because traditionally Soviet submarines, they are a lot louder than American ones, so to move around stealthily, they can do it at like 5 knots. Unlike the Los Angeles class, which has 4 torpedo tubes, this one has 8, so it can engage 8 different targets simultaneously. And the first one is made in 1989. Basically, one thing here I want to note, with 8 torpedo tubes, there is one reason for that. It's designed to attack the typhoons. Like, its only job is to find these and sink them. So the idea here is basically, because the Russians operate in wolf packs, where they have multiple submarines working together, and the Americans operate alone, more torpedo tubes means that it can engage both the Typhoon and its escorts simultaneously.
Okay, so they're playing it smart.
This is like designed for one purpose. So, in 1989, the plan is that they're going to build 29 of them. Basically, they're just going to take the Los Angeles class and replace them completely with these. They are so much better, they figure, you know what, let's just spend the money, right? So 3 of these end up being built because in 1991 the Soviet Union collapses. So basically the need for these submarines goes away. So 3 end up being built, SSN 21, 22, and 23. Garrison, guess how much each one cost?
Oh, God. 17 trillion.
Well, you were absolutely right. I'm just kidding. They were $3 billion each.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
That's $3 billion?
$3 billion in 1989 dollars.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Okay, so 17 billion.
Well, in the 2018 money, that's $5 billion.
God.
Yeah. They are the second most expensive submarines ever built.
That there's a problem.
Yeah.
That's where my tax money's going.
My taxes.
I paid for that.
I paid for it. I deserve to have a ride.
That Joe Biden don't need to be on that. That needs to be me.
Yeah, but basically, 3 of them get built. They are, despite only 3 of them being built, the best submarines by far in the U.S. Navy. Like, even though they were built in 1989, even though there are only 3 of them, they are the best. They are absolutely stupendous submarines, and I can talk a lot about like just why they're so much better than the Los Angeles. But the issue here, of course, is cost. So they could only build 3 of them, given the physical realities of the post-Soviet economic world order. But yeah, so Seawolf comes first. Then you get Connecticut. Connecticut is interesting because, like, just last year, it was involved in a collision in the Pacific. Despite all the amazing sonar these things have, it still managed to hit a rock, and it really messed up the bow.
But that was a scary moment on the inside of that thing.
Apparently, like, there's a gash like this long along the bow, and just water was flooding in. It had to do an emergency surface.
I would have probably shot myself.
I don't like these. I like looking at them. I don't want to be in one. And the last one is the USS Jimmy Carter. Maybe. Only for you.
Don't do it.
Now, Jimmy Carter is interesting, and I should do a quick digression here because this is a profile of the original Seawolf design, right? Pretty similar to the Los Angeles, save for, like the pump jet, different bow. So, because they only built 3 of these, there was a need for a special operations submarine, right? One that could accommodate Navy SEALs, one that could basically tap fiber optic cables that lay on the ocean floor, one that can do spying. So they take the USS Jimmy Carter and basically it's extended. You see this section right here? They add that in to make it significantly longer, and that holds all these really cool systems that no one actually knows about. So, yeah, it's basically like it's a 3-ship class, but it's more like one Seawolf class and one Jimmy Carter class. But that is the Seawolf fleet.
Where's the JFK class that gets shot in the dome?
Oh god.
Sorry, could pass that one up.
Yeah, but that is Seawolf. It is the coolest submarine out there. No one can argue differently. Let's talk about the models. The model situation is dusty. It's grimy even. Like these are basement finds. So the best model I would say is this one from Trumpeter. And it's just a bad vote. This one came out in like 2010. It's actually a pretty decent mold. It's in 1:144 scale, so it's pretty large. The tube is pretty long. That one was pretty cool because it actually molds what's called the ankiotic tiling on it. And ankiotic tiling, it's basically sound-absorbent rubber that's placed on the hull of the submarine, and it basically absorbs the sound. It's kind of like stealth jets, how they get painted with that radar-absorbing paint. It's the same thing, but for stealth.
Didn't they find something like that with a German U-boat off the coast of like America or something? They found a U-boat.
German U-boats are actually what started that. So the Germans came up with ankiotic tiling.
Yeah, so they found a U-boat and it was like, what? Why is there rubber mats on it? Yeah, it'd been sunk because it hit a mine.
That's what they want you to think. I was there. I sunk it.
He was banging on the hatch with a hammer.
Oh God!
Coast Guard style.
I'm about to say not the Coast Guard. I shouldn't join the Coast Guard. Actually, no, I shouldn't have. I hate the water.
And then we've got the Seawolf-class submarine from Trumpeter Bronco in 1:350, which is pretty nice. I've got their Los Angeles class kit. Again, one thing with submarine kits is that it's just a tube, right? So like painting it's really easy, building it's really easy. You get to mess around with the weathering though.
I think the fun part of building submarines is you gotta do a resin mold or something for them, eh?
Oh yeah. Well, oh man, 22 euros. That's a lot to pay for 2 resin pieces, but I might just do it.
Just go to like Home Depot and get some like PVC pipe and. It's the same thing, I swear.
And then we've got this one from Hobby Boss, and Hobby Boss, to their credit, does a lot of great submarines. This is the Jimmy Carter, so the extended version, the erect Seawolf, as you would, in 1:700 scale. And then there's this one. I forget what manufacturer makes this, but this is a resin kit that came out like when they were originally building it. This is like a 1990s vintage kit.
Did you say vintage?
Vintage.
Say what? Where?
Callum's like the Kool-Aid man.
Callum's already put a bid on this kit.
He's like, oh yeah, I remember that one. I put a bid on it last week.
$5. Who would have thought?
Shit.
Hey, not bad. 39 minutes.
Damn. Was that only 30? Crap. That felt so short.
It did.
It did. They all say that.
Well, I mean, you know, when you suck and it is short, you know.
Anyway.
Callum, make sure to leave that bit in.
Oh yeah, I will. The awkward silence really just makes it better.
And that was the Seawolf SSN. I decided to keep it short and sweet so that we wouldn't lose any more credibility than we already have.
We had some to start with.
We apparently did. We were in Fine Scale Modeler magazine.
Shit. Hey, quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm almost done assembling the last figure for this ATG crew and the gun. I'm going to re-upload the photos after the hobby news. Could you refresh the slides?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Autoloader Decals. Have you wandered round the shelves of your local hobby store and found that perfect model kit? Great tooling, fun to build, and look, you remember seeing the subject. Perhaps it was a truck in the ubiquitous white UN paint scheme in the newspaper, or maybe it was a Sherman tank from your local armour unit. Everything is lining up for a fantastic new project, one with a more interesting connection to yourself, instead of a project derived from a history book. Then you open the kit, and there are none of those specific markings to be found. Waterslide decals really put the final touch on a model, and unfortunately for the model maker, most kit manufacturers won't put too much time into designing decals that produce a finished model in anything but its most stereotypical form. That's why Autoloader Decals exists. It is their sincere hope that you'll be able to find as much enjoyment using these special water slides as they have. Autoloader Decal products are primarily focused on Canadian subjects, but in general, if you're looking for markings that represent vehicles from lesser known parts of modern history, chances are you might just be able to find something worth trying. The waterslide decals are printed through an inkjet printer and sealed with a high quality varnish to ensure their strength on the model. Unlike most other water slides, these decals only need to be submerged for a few seconds and can be placed right onto the model. They are incredibly tough and won't yellow over time. For an added benefit, decals intended for 1:35 scale are treated with a special varnish that gives a subtle, painted-on look that's both in scale and more realistic than other brands' offerings. All the products currently in production are listed in the store page. If you have a custom design you would like to order, the best way of making this order is to send an email through the contact page. Generally, the cost of a custom order will be 40 to 50% higher than any products that are in stock to account for labour. Also, as a special deal, if you are ordering a set of custom decals and you mention the Micro Machines podcast, you'll receive a free exclusive MMP Pinju decal with your order. So next time you're looking to build a specific or unique vehicle, look towards Autoloader Decals. And now, back to the show.
Speaking of, shall we do the hobby news?
No.
Send it. Oh!
Oh, look at that.
So Miniart announced a German 7.5cm anti-tank gun, the Pak 40. This is the early production. So it's got a very cool tricycle type trailer and a pretty neat camouflage on it, on the box art. Yeah, everyone who likes early war stuff, it's an early production Pak 40. Yeah.
Fucking hell yeah.
Look at that.
I want it.
Masterbox is coming up with 2 new figure kits from their Ukrainian series. I think I just saw the box art for these. I didn't actually see the figures, but I'm going to guess they'll probably be pretty comparable in quality to the ones they made back in 2022.
Oh, yeah. These look pretty good.
So, these caused a, what was it, the one on the left that caused an argument on our server?
Did it?
No, that was the earlier ones, the Azov Battalion ones.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I love having to explain to adults that you can just say that people who are fascist are bad without saying an entire country's bad.
Honestly.
Oh no, some people have a Nazi flag. The whole country's bad.
Yes, I do think all of Germany's bad.
Yeah.
Yes, fuck Germany. Sorry, Val.
Sorry, Val.
Yeah.
Should be on the podcast more.
Yep.
We're kidding.
Academy are releasing a 1/72nd. It's the T-34-85. However, I got a note on this. I was looking through ScaleMates at it. This is basically a reboxing of a 2002 Revell kit.
No, I don't see Revell.
With new decals.
No!
It's just a rebox with new decals, but it's a 2002 Revell.
Callum, don't do that to me, man.
I'm gonna do it to you.
I'm trying to get into
it selling for?
172.
No idea.
Oh,
God,
it's gonna be like, I'm calling it $30.
Not worth it.
Dude, I am trying to get into 72 scale because it is legitimately awesome detail. The modern kits are. This thing is going to be garbage.
Yeah,
it's 2002 Revell.
Oh.
Although, if you tell Ezra, he'll say there's nothing wrong with it, and he'll buy it because it's Revell and Academy.
No. What he'll do is he'll explain there's nothing wrong with it, and then he'll spend like 10 minutes explaining what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
At the dance.
And also, it's just another T-34-85. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, nothing special about it. Where's my fucking bed frame armor and like Russians like shooting a flare?
Okay, what's next?
Stupid T-34A5. Oh.
Ugh.
Ugh. I love how this is the one episode that come on. So Auswerk is making a 1:16 scale Stug 3 Ausstrong G with winter cadet.
Yay.
Yay, let's
Another
skip this one. Another snug. Yeah.
Something more interesting, Mini-Art is getting a bit cheesy. They released this cheese delivery car.
That was really fucking good, Callum.
That was
nice.
I get occasional good ones, yeah. But so Mini-Art are releasing they're continuing. They've got this line of interesting early and post-war civilian vehicles that honestly look really, really cool. This is a cheese delivery car, the Leifa. Oh fuck! Wagon Type 170V, whatever the fuck. You'll see it on the slides, or if you want to try and search it up on Google, just smash your head against the keyboard. You'll probably get the spelling at some point.
Oh man!
But it looks like it comes with like a giant cheese wheel to go on the back with it. So that's just got me right there and then. So it's got a roll of Gruyere. It's got an Emmentail. It's got what's that other one? Who knows? You got a whole bunch of cheeses to go on the back of it though. So yeah,
all the cheese.
Dude, imagine having like a Sherman tank just covering the back with cheese.
You know what? Now I want to get
this. Not a
this.
bad idea.
Yeah, I want to get this with like
melting. It's all melting through the engine grill.
Oh god!
I'll tell you one thing. Mini-Art better release the cheeses just as their own accessory kit.
Oh, they will. They will.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know how
they
many
my
cheese recycle molds.
Wait, they did pigeons?
Yeah, they did 35th scale pigeons as an accessory kit.
Oh my! What? When?
Like last
Did you
year.
know about this? Yeah.
No, I need that.
You don't know about the pigeons?
No,
Dude,
I don't.
If Mini-Art is known for anything, it's the pigeons.
Yeah. And everyone's sitting there going, why?
Because of people like me who would actually buy it. Because I want my damn pigeons.
What is this?
Auswerk is making this 1:35 scale Schwimmwagen triple?
The Schwimmwagen. The Schwimmwagen.
Well, what is this?
It's it looks like half Kubelwagen, half boot.
I guess
it looks like
so,
a shoe.
Yeah.
It's a shoe with wheels.
I love how they say correct shaped rounded main body. Well, yeah, I guess.
We'll take your word for it. It looks like I just see a work shoe. It's a shoe.
I have no idea what this is. It kind of looks interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. But
Horizon Islands Defense Forces nuclear submarine.
Oh my god!
If I bought it, I'll put laces. I'll just end up putting laces on it.
Oh, you know I'm about to say, the like the tugboats that help like bring in like aircraft carriers and shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
This.
It is. Garrison,
Rubber
I build
mats.
the Horizon Islands submarine. You build the tug.
I got you, fam. I would too. I put like a little 30 cal on it with like some rubber mats on the side, with like some Walmart bags on there.
Dustwerk are also releasing this LARCV early version, which is another amphibious type vehicle. This one is actually a Gecko models kit. Dustwerk have just added in their own decals, about 5 extra decal sheets. So this is a Gecko cooperation kit, but so it's got details for the Bundeswehr, early Vietnam, Portugal, U.S. Navy, U.S. Army. Yeah, I think it looks cool. That's pretty cool vehicle.
Man, Dustwerk will literally do anything to avoid having to make their own kits, I swear.
Yeah. Is it just me though? If you look on the box art, that guy in the middle looks like photoshopped, or like it looks weird.
Yeah.
Apparently they don't even make their own box, or they get AI to do it for them.
Maybe it
Mark
is.
my words, that's coming. That's coming.
Yeah.
You upset about AI taking over your job, Dennis?
I've got a computer science degree. I make the AI.
Yeah, he's the problem.
The AI is going to go to like human science school to work on us. Thanks to you, there will be no more computer science. It'll be human science and computer.
I'm gonna work on AI that becomes smart enough, right to the point it becomes sentient enough to write itself, and I'm gonna unplug it and then redo it all to make more money. Infinite money glitch.
It's just in GTA.
And then there's the Das Werk had 4 releases. This is the MT.
You got it.
MTL fucking Klingon.
Hey, if you're gonna do naughty time, do it off the camera.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it's basically it's an 8-ton SDKFZ 7 with crew, and it has six soldier figures included. So all you need is a Pack 44 hooked onto the back, and you're all good to go. So it's got
actually kind of sweet.
Image you sent me.
Pardon?
You did?
Yeah, that's the Seawolf. Wait a second.
That's one from Google. I have to. It's on the picture I took is on my little video recorder camera. I gotta download that stuff to my computer.
That's the Los Angeles class. You got one of the shitty ones. Sorry, man.
Oh, and also this SDKFZ 7 is a Dragon kit. Das Werk doing the co-ops again.
Man, Das
Werk. Das Werk is like the AliExpress of fucking companies, but it's just like more irritating.
Front for Dragon. They're just a shell corporation for tax evasion purposes.
Yeah, it's at this point, yeah. But it does have a complete interior and workable single track links. So,
I mean, I would hope there's an interior. It's all fucking open. I got excited at first, and I looked at it again. I'm like, oh, well, actually, I would fucking hope there's an interior.
Well, maybe interior as in there's an engine.
Oh, God.
Yuck.
Whoop-de-doo. Get it for the scrapyards.
Well, our dreams have come true. TACOM is releasing a 1:35 scale T-55AD, the Drost, which is a T-55 with the droid APS system that we covered in episode 2. Garrison.
Yes.
One of these for the Horizon Islands Marine Corps.
Yes.
They've got like one. It's got marginally less rust on it.
See, I am debating between this one and the one we're using for first place to get on.
I'd say wait for this one.
Really?
It'll be out soon.
Yeah, but the other one is like, it's so cool.
But this one's got the airborne torpedoes.
When is it coming out?
It's a tough decision.
It is a tough decision.
It really is. Like the other one
has.
The other one has so many other marking options and shit like that.
But this one has a laser rangefinder.
Exactly. Like I don't.
Dude, Horizon Islands rolling through the Fulda Gap.
You see, if I do a T-55, it won't be for Cold War because I already got 2 builds for it.
No, you have to make it tropical. You can't say no.
Oh no, I definitely would make it tropical, but it just wouldn't be Cold War, like for the Cold War build.
I think I really want to build a T-55, but I think the only one I'll do would probably be like a North Vietnamese one from the Vietnam War.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, put the foliage on it and all of that. Yeah.
That would be pretty tits.
I'm getting this. Whenever it comes out, I'm putting my name down on one of them.
Well, we expect a full review, just like the Comet.
Yes.
And finally, Amusing Hobby, bringing out, I wrote T-84, it's actually an M84A main battle tank. So this is in 35th, and I didn't really see a lot of info about it. Anyone know what an M84 is? Isn't it just
I believe it's just a Yugoslav production version of the T-72.
Right.
Although
there's definitely some differences. Oh yeah, it's got a snorkel. That's cool.
It's a submarine.
Oh my god!
Horizon Island Submarine Force.
Oh god!
Go get them, boys.
Just rolling, it's Callum rolling around in his dad's yacht, and all of a sudden one of these does an emergency surface beside him. He shoots
yo.
15 feet out of the water.
Sorry, we weren't supposed to do that. Damages the yacht. Alright, I am done with my pictures now. Almost.
Yes, but this will be cool to see, because I know they do a good job with their T-72s. Like, they're really well detailed.
Yeah.
Ugly
Yugoslav, that'll be... I mean, that box art alone, the camouflage looks awesome.
Now, time for our whips. I will refresh the slides.
Thank you, puppy.
There we are. Garrison, you gave me a loading screen. Damn you.
Sorry.
This is going to go on the blooper reel.
Yep. All right. So, I've got a few slides this week.
What's new?
So first thing that's new is I'm finally driving a truck with a trailer to get my CDL. Took long enough. Thought that was a cool picture. And then I've made some progress on my fireball diorama. I got the rough cutouts of all 3 buildings I'll be using. I spent all week trying to find the same density of foam as you see there, but in big blocks. And unfortunately, the United States does not have anywhere, and it's almost nearly, well, this past week I found out it's impossible to get here. Unless you have someone in a country that sells it and they can send it, good luck. So I had to cut out and glue together a bunch of fucking pieces. I'm going to have to sand them down and make them all flush and fill the gaps with putty and then sand it again. That'll be a project for this upcoming week. And then I started on the Tamiya Willys Jeep, even though it was a week late. Got most of it built up to the point where I can start painting it after I get my XF86. But I made a couple of stretchers out of toothpicks and toilet paper and Tamiya tape. Making that Tamiya Willys Jeep a medical vehicle for the fireball diorama. So that was fun.
Which Jeep kit is that one?
It's a Tamiya Willys Jeep half ton or a quarter ton.
How do you like
4x4
it?
truck. Oh, dude, it went together beautifully. Like, I mean, obviously I'm not done yet, but it was a real fun, simple build. Like, my wife and I sat down here. She was painting. I was building that. We just listened to scary stories, and the time just flew by. No problems at all.
I will say, Tamiya Jeeps are so good to put together. I put the SAS one, the long range desert group one. I put that one together. Literally had the whole thing built in like 2 hours, if that.
Oh yeah, these are yeah, it was lovely. I took about 3 hours for mine. I also stepped away for a little bit, but I mean, it was so simple to do. Like, and something I love. So, Callum, you got it's at the Tal'eri Jeep, right? With the wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that one. That was my first ever Willys Jeep, and the Jeep was all right. You know, it was fine, especially for an old kit. But this compared to that, it's like day and night. Like, the wheels are a lot easier to set. Like, I put the steering wheels, or the front wheels, angled to the left a little bit because it'll be like dodging some rubble, and I had no problem setting them in place. Like, I didn't have to cut anything, sand anything extra. Like, it just kind of turned them just a tad bit, and it was almost like it was made for it. It was great.
Yeah, I'd say definitely advice for new modelers if they want advice on what to build. A Tamiya Jeep is like a really good starting point.
Bloody brilliant.
Next.
All right. So here are the figures for my fireball diorama. If you know anything about fireball, it was the first ever Pershing knocked out in Elsdorf, Germany. This is the morning after it was knocked out while the town was still being taken. Basically, that Tamiya's Willys Jeep is going to be next to the Pershing, with the medics grabbing the dead bodies and getting the wounded. And then going to have a couple riflemen from the Tamiya scout group or infantry set that came out last year. Got 2 of those guys that are going to be kind of sitting nearby. Really great molds from the old Express. Really happy with how these figures kind of flow together.
Those are looking great.
Yeah.
Danke.
Yeah, those Tamiya figures especially. Look at those.
I'll say this. I have become so spoiled with resin figures because I don't like assembling a lot of like figure pieces. Like I don't mind doing like arms and a head, but those Tamiya figures were not nearly as bad of a headache as I thought they'd be. Like they went together zero problem. Sanding off the pinpoints was no problem at all. It wasn't like a master box kit where you had like 70 fucking pieces. It was great.
I can't wait to see you do them.
Thank you. And then what I just did was built up 3 anti-tank gun crewmen and the anti-tank gun for my Italy die or vignette, my little Italy vignette I'll be making. I've got 2 more figures to make for this. It's a forward operator or forward observers with the binoculars and stuff. But sweet little gun, barrels already drilled out on it, and lots of little extras that came with it. So I thought this was real sweet little addition.
That's looking great. This is what I've been working on.
Slava Ukraine.
Yeah, so I had this old Galaxy Hobby 1/72 scale Max Pro kicking around in my stash. So last week, over this couple nights, I put it together. Really nice little kit. Only thing that I can say is seam lines on the tires, but other than that, it was really nice, full interior. Painted it up as a Ukrainian Lend-Lease vehicle, and I 3D printed. I designed and 3D printed 2. They're Canadians, but it's a Canadian kit, but like 2 Ukrainian operators beside it, and yeah. That's what I've been doing.
Love to see it.
Yeah, if anyone wants modern Canadian infantry, hit me up.
Yeah, that the mud on the wheels look really good, eh? I like that.
I had to add it to cover up the seam lines.
It's just me, or was that gun, the gun shield on that 50? Just it looks upside down, just because of the way
it does look upside
You know
down.
what? I always thought it was upside down. In fact, that's how they are. I never knew it, but that's how they are.
I would have thought you'd have the
That's what I thought.
plexiglass up at where your eyesight is, so you can look around, not below.
That's what we had.
Callum, don't ask questions. This is just I checked the references. This is how they are. I don't know why they are this way, but yeah.
That's just weird.
Heaven forbid we have anything nice in this place.
We're not allowed to have nice things. That's what it is. But yeah, this kit got me into 1/72 scale. Now that I can print figures and stuff, I might actually start doing this more often.
Please do. I want to see you do some MBTs in 72 scale for Ukraine.
Oh man, that'd be fun. We'll see. Maybe if I do end up going to Wheels and Wings this week on Monday, who knows what'll happen? Who knows? Anything could happen.
So this is my current work on my Horizon Island Defence Force M1133. I'm calling it the Dragon. So I bought the artillery Jeep and trailer just because I wanted the trailer, but I'm going to use the Jeep in the diorama anyway. But so literally I'm at the point where I can start painting it. I've just got to source some flexible LED diode type things, just so I can create the flame, and then I can run the wires as fuel pipes, and then have batteries in the trailer. So still got to source that, but I'm going to probably start painting it all soon. So yeah,
Right on.
yeah, it'd be good to. Yeah, I got plans. I'm going to paint a sort of faint flame detail on down the sides of the M113, just as a sort of, Horizon Island Defence Force engineers are a bunch of probably psychos, but
Silly boys.
Oh, it's
So-
awesome. Also, question: what kit was that? Because those tracks look decent.
artillery. 1990s, and those tracks are
Are they Lincoln length?
yes, they are Lincoln length, and if you put in the correct number, it's not long enough. If you add one more, it's too long. So what I've had to do is the idler wheels, I've had to shave them down to bring the idler wheel forward more, so it would get it to fit with the correct number of links.
That is still better than to me plastic tracks. Kudos to you.
Yeah. Also, in classic Horizon Island fashion, I might have put the tracks on back to front.
No. They're making them last longer that way.
Yeah, and also the other double whammy is because of the design, and I didn't want to try and like thread the links back and forth through the thing, so I've glued the sprocket, idle wheel, and road wheels to the tracks, so it's it's set in concrete now.
No worries.
Yeah, no one's going to notice it's going to have mud on it. It's fine. It's fine.
Mud is our friend. We like
Yep.
mud.
Oh God.
And then this is my monogram Dornier DO17Z. I went through the pain of it had raised panel lines, and I didn't really like them too much, so I went through and rescribed all the panel lines with my X-Acto blade. Yeah.
See, this is how I felt working on that saber.
You can tell I hate myself a lot.
That's Callum. I love you, man. You're a great guy. You lost me in monogram. Mad respect for rescribing panel lines.
I mean, apart from the raised panel lines, it's not too bad of a kit, to be honest. I mean, yes, it's lacking a bit of detail in the cockpit, but otherwise, it's honestly not too bad. At the moment, I can't. I'm out of primer, so I can't start painting it yet. I'm also trying to source some liquid masking fluid because the Dornier has so much glazing around the cockpit, the nose, underneath the nose. I am not doing that with tape, so I'm going to try and source myself some masking fluid so I can paint it on, because, no.
Well, Callum, with your fucking 13 model stores, you shouldn't have a problem getting any of the stuff.
I never said they were well stocked. Like, legit, there are some guys on the server whose stashes are bigger than, has more stock than bloody most of the stores.
Jesus.
But, yeah. So, but I did paint all 4 figures, which is a pain in the ass. I hate painting 72nd scale, and also because they weren't that good. It's 1973 monogram. What do you expect? I have I don't have high expectations, so I won't be disappointed.
Sounds familiar.
Hey, I think you're going to make a great looking kid out of this when it's all said and done.
Oh, he definitely will. No doubt about it.
Cam, are you ever buying a kit with raised panel lines after this?
What do you mean? I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
No.
5,
Are you buying another one?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
of course I will. I build vintage kits for fun.
And for that, you must die.
Dennis, we need to have an intervention.
We do need to have an intervention. If me buying a 700 scale submarine is too bad, then this is beyond the pale.
But they're just so cheap, and me. I'm a subject builder. I'm a subject builder. I'm not a brand whore. I'm a subject matter.
That's fair.
Also, do you know how difficult it is to get a decent kit of a Dornier D17? Like,
doesn't ICM make one?
Think so, but that's definitely not in New Zealand. The only one I've seen, the only other Dornier kit I've seen around is the Airfix Vintage. So and I really like the Dornier, so I'm kind of just grit and bear it.
You're biting the bullet.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, Greg, what's this?
All right, so as we said last week, we have a new group build going since we finished the Battle of the Bulge. This is the Cold War group build. It has already started. Ends June 1st. So if you would like to join, it is strictly through our Discord server. There will be a link in the description of this video to join. If you need help either getting Discord or navigating our server, there will be another link down below with a short video telling you how to do it, how to join the server, and how to navigate the server to go into the group building section. We have prizes for those who want to compete, and there's also a section for those who do not want to compete. All the rules and information you need are on the server. There is also a section on there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, looking forward to seeing all the cool builds and handing out some sweet prizes.
And there is something that we're keeping secret for the moment, but there will be a big announcement.
A very, very big announcement.
But until then, we're just going to tease them and just say, yeah, there's something there, but we won't tell you just yet.
The prizes that are there are fucking sweet, but there's additions to those prizes that are to be told later down the road.
Eek! So excited.
So like a teenage girl when she goes to the mall in like 2007.
And then lastly, we just need to give a shout out because we actually got our very first Patreon supporter.
Whoop whoop! Let's
Yes, we
fucking go, gentlemen.
So, just want to make a big shout out to... Hang on, I'm just finding his name right now. So, we just want to give a big shout out to Paul Gallagher. He is our first ever Patreon supporter. He is currently in the $3 Pinju supporters tier. And what that is if you become a Pinju supporter, the majority of the money from those tiers go towards our very little podcast member over in Nepal. That is Pinju. We help, we sponsor, adopted, whatever you want to call it, a red panda because we, as a podcast, really love red pandas and we want to make sure that they are around because they are the ultimate tank crewmen. So, thanks a lot to Paul Gallagher. Glad to have you on board. And yeah.
Thanks.
Right on, right on. Thank you, dude.
Awesome. Well, I think that was a podcast, guys.
It sure was.
That, yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll finish this up. You have been watching and listening to the Micro Machines podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this week. We will return next with... Cal, you going to do that T55 slide?
Yeah, I think I will. We'll do the T55.
We'll do the T55s. Sounds good.
Fuck yeah.
Until then, see ya.
See ya.
See ya.